Should be pretty. I think it was only tier 2 that had the bug. Should be fine. I would assume safety car should be fine. Like that. We have 19 in the lobby. We have me on... We have me on the comms, and we're not that ready, not that far from going. But we're just waiting for a few things to happen there. Shouldn't be too long. I need to figure out whether or not things have decided to function as things are meant to function. And that notification means I believe it has. My remote may actually end up dying mid-race. I think that is the ready up call, ready to go in tier 1. Just going to do a very quick mic check. Alright, that's mic check done. Mic sounds like it's good, which means we are not that far from ready to go. Hello Saeed, how are you doing? How's everything going? Just about 3 seconds away from the start of tier 1 today. Let's see how Brazil is going to work out. It's either going to be a train. There's some places there's going to be a train. Some places are going to be extremely interesting. Are you playing CS:GO today? I am absolutely not. Definitely not. Have NFL in the background. Probably end up playing NFL later on too. Madden later on, you know. We're in that kind of mood today, especially outside of the tier 1 race. All good when the NFL season starts back up. Can't figure out a better way to set up to watch the tier 1 race, commentate over the tier 1 race, and watch the NFL at the same time. Interesting. Interesting from the PA there. At this point, I'm making it a point at the start of every race just to sit here and figure out what the hell the PA on the announcer's got to say. There's a couple of guys out already. Is that BR4? That is BR4, followed by a Ferrari. Also, Raiders? Really? I'm a Ravens fan. They're up 15-6 at the moment, so all's going well there. Hello to everyone that's just joining us. Just started quali. If you haven't watched one of the streams before, we follow the first guy out on the out lap and then the flying lap 2. It's currently just started in Brazil, and BR4 is going to be the first one out. It's just as we stand, let's have a look at where we stand in terms of championship standings, because last week we made a big deal of it. We made a big deal of where the standings we're looking at, and after Kota, Mitchell had a 5-point advantage over Baraka. BR4 is currently third, and it's only 40 back now. We're not halfway through the season yet. We're about to go into halfway through the season at the end of this race, but for now, BR4 is going to be the first one to set a lap here in Brazil and keeps it valid. The first 2 or 3 corners are usually the trickiest part of this track. especially for gaining time and losing time, and everyone's trying to create themselves some space going through the third sector. 16.8 is the first time in the first sector set by BR4. 16.8 probably could shave a couple of tenths off the first sector, but I don't think it'll be an awful lot of time that comes off that for the best first sector in the lobby. As we go through the very windy, the very flow-driven Sector 2 at Brazil. Two very different versions of it. You get this one on F1, which is a little bit more slidey regardless of what happened. The other one on GT that feels really down to the ground. But he goes around the final, the second to last now. And goes through into the final sector. And now he's got the long straight up the hill. Following up one of the Williams behind him, and he's going to set himself for 107.9. That's probably going to have a couple of attempts come off it, but not bad nonetheless. BR4 with very low wings compared to other people. That could be also very interesting. 50.9 in the first two sectors for Baraka as he's going to come up the hill now. And this is where this is where we expect the bar to be. Baraka has like a top 10 time trial timer. They did on Thursday when I checked it, and it's a 7.7 banker lap for Baraka. And oh, there you go. Bar set. 8.6 for Tepos. Mitchell's going to come toward the line now. Mitchell probably looking to be in the middle, or if not quicker than BR. Well, in the middle of the two at the front, and he is, but he's only third because Bloodwave is putting quite a decent lap too. Yalo 8.6 as well, though him, Tepos, and Boba all on the 108.6 at the moment. Elite not that far in front of that. Let's have a look. Joe has invalidated his lap. Mildy on a lap. Stell invalidated his, and Steger just started one as well. So we're going to watch Joe. We're going to watch Mildy, sorry, at the moment. Probably head to Joe, the rest of Joe's lap afterwards. So he's going to go up the hill now. Millsy probably going to be somewhere in the region of the 108.2 most likely. The banker lap for him, he's alright, but he's not considered a big gun in Tier 1, and it's actually a 108.8, and that's the slowest lap we've had so far. Joe obviously invalidated. Stell going for, I'm not entirely sure if he's going to have enough to go for a lap here. Steger's going to come to the line, so we are going to go to Steger. Also got a couple of guys going on outlaps now. Joe's into the pit. Steger to the 107.8. Up to third. That's a good lap. We might have a close race here. Just about to figure out whether or not Stell is about to put himself on the board properly here. 51.4 is probably a sight that he is actually going for it. It's about 6 tenths slower than Baraka though, I think. He is going for it. He's going to go to the line. He's, I'm guessing, running out of fuel a little bit here, but it's a 108.3, and that jumps him just above his teammate. Mildy will be coming in. Redstone. So Redstone is who we're going to watch now. He's new to the league, second race in. Had a very good run at it in Kota, but didn't end the way he wanted. I think a collision happened between him and Bloodwave that sent him into a wall. Well, that's what I gathered from the messages at the end of the last race. He also wasn't exactly happy with Mildy, who should have had a blocking penalty. I don't know if he did in fact get that blocking penalty coming into this race. It looked like Redstone's going to come up the hill now. Let's see if Redstone can put himself in the top 5 or 6 like he did last week. He's going to come to the line. If he can put himself in the 107s, he should be in for a good time, but it's a 108.5. It's not exactly what he was hoping for. As we watch the second sector now of Big Turns lap, the massive outsider, realistically, when it comes to this tier. One of the Williams going off to make sure he gets out of the way. Yeah, the massive outsider here in Tier 1 Big Turns. What a day it would be if he could get a win. He's going to come to the line now. It's probably going to be a 109. It is. It's a 109.1. As for what we have in terms of the championship in the constructors, we have a 12-point gap. Daxi and Mitchell versus Baraka and Tepos. Haas winning at the moment. Also 39 between the leader and BR4 and Steger, so that could close in 2. Which means we aren't realistically done for that one either. Seether now on a lap. He's just having to avoid a bit of traffic by the looks of things. Joe also coming out at 2. A few of the other guys on flying laps too, as we got Seether to the line. It looked like he's doing a lap. It said 108.3, and that's enough for night. Have a look at what Joe's doing. Joe's currently in the second sector too, so we'll figure out what's going on there. One of the Ferraris is probably out on a lap right now. The other one, the McLaren, is going in. We're currently watching Joe. We've got Staber in front of him. It looked like Staber going to come to the line first. We'll see. We'll keep an eye out on where. Oh no, I think Staber's going into the pits, which means Joe's next to the line. Joe does a 107.861, and that's a 4th person on a 107.8. There's a Merrick coming to the line. That's Bloodwave. Is that Bazal coming to the line? Or is that Boba does a 108.3? A 107.5 there for Baraka. Baraka setting all sorts of bars here, and I don't think a lot of people are going to get past that. Tepos not really doing an awful lot to move his position there. In comes Bazal into the pits. One of the Alfa Romeos has done a lap. McLaren comes into the pits, which means there's a Red Bull next to the line, and that's going to be Daxi. He's currently slower, and it... Wait, is that raining? It's rain! It's rain! Oh no! It's raining! And I think that means we are as we are. I think that's the end of qualifying. I think that is it. There's no way anyone's going quicker. It's raining in Brazil. And that means everyone is going to be stuck. Everyone is going to be stuck exactly where they are. There is no one going quicker. People will probably start to retire left, right, and centre. Which means we're going to have a lot less time in quali here. There should be a bunch of people darting straight to the pits. I don't think anyone should be coming back out. Boba's out. Mitchell BR4 both retiring too. Yeah, and we are starting to get the accumulation of people who realise that it's very much raining on the track. And yeah, I think that's it for qualifying, which means Baraka takes yet another pole this season. I think he got all but 2 and 1 round 7. I think that's 5 from 7 for Baraka in terms of poles. Mitchell probably not happy with the way that qualifying's gone. He's sat himself in 5th. He only has a 5-point lead, remember, which means a win for Baraka today means that he will take the lead of this championship regardless of what happens. It'll be back to a point if it's a 1-2 between the two drivers. But with the end of qualifying going on, going to be flicking toward between the two. I think everyone should start to retire.
He managed 6 victories between 1982 to 1990. 5 of these were at Rio de Janeiro.
It took me a while. It took me a long time to realise that was raining. We should see people left, right and centre start to drop themselves into... It's Redstone doing donuts. Redstone is doing donuts. Yeah, and that should be the end of quali. But yeah, just about 4 or 5 more guys, actually 6 guys left to retire from the session. Your pole sitter being one of them.
The FIA agreed to host the championship GP the following year.
Why is Mildy going on an outlap? Why are you doing... Mildy, what are you doing? Mildy, you're on intermediate tires. You won't be going quicker. Why are you not retiring? You're just gonna make my job more annoying for me, aren't you, Mildy? Also saying for Baraka, why? Baraka, you have pole! What is... What's the point? What is the point? It's not going to rain for the race, that's good news. But I still don't understand the point. Why are Baraka and Mildy out? It's even spotting on the track now, which means it's not a soft tyre track, which means Baraka's fucked. Stell's retired. Staber and Big Turns might as well go too. We're just driving for the sake of driving. Baraka's going to go toward the line now. I still have no idea why he's actually doing this. Yeah, it's a 112. It wasn't even remotely close. It was very clearly raining. And extremely interested to see why. I'm interested in the reasoning as to why he's driving around on a wet track on soft tyres in the middle of quali where he has pole by default. Well, they say by default, it wasn't exactly by default, but it was essentially a one-shot quali. I don't see the need to ruin a pair of softs. We're just dragging this out for no reason. This is interesting. He's going for another. He's actually going to go for another lap. But why? If it's not going to rain in the race, then I don't see the necessity of doing these. If it was going to rain in the race, I could understand maybe prepping for a transitional zone. That I can understand. But if the forecast is saying no rain, then he's the only one left that hasn't retired. I'm confused. I'm extremely confused. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's just a extremely high quality of driver thing. But I'm interested in seeing what the explanation for this is. We're losing viewers. I'm still really confused. We're just sat here watching Baraka do a random lap. I don't understand what is going on. I mean, there's nothing else we can do here. We're waiting on Baraka. No one else is... DRS has just been disabled. We are waiting on Baraka. We could have been on a race about 8 minutes ago. What? Just making my job unnecessarily hard for me, I see. It's just extremely confusing as to why he's still going. You know, if we had money and watch time to try and get to, I could understand, but we're just watching him go at 90 miles an hour around the straights. He's got no fuel left in the car. He's still going. That is 8 minutes of my life I'm never getting back. I'm never getting that back. What was the point? I'm so confused. I am so unbelievably confused. The qualifying was done. It was a 10-minute qualifying. The race started with about 8 minutes left on the clock. That should have been the end of qualifying there and then. Why have we managed to do the entire 18 minutes? What? Especially if it's not raining in the race. I am so confused. What's the point? Okay, well, time to move on. I guess we might find an actual answer when Baraka comes into chat. Until then, I'm just going to be left extremely confused. But we're waiting for a couple of people. It looks like we're going to go racing very soon. We're doing a formation lap. This did, in fact, bug off a tier 2 on Thursday night. It looks like so. Right, going over the quali standings. We've got Baraka from Bloodwave, that's your front row. Steger from Joe sits on the second row. Mitchell from BR4, a prior title battle, multiple prior title battles actually, sitting themselves on the third row here at Brazil. The title battle is going to be between Mitchell and Baraka this time. BR4 looking to try and get himself a couple of wins to maybe put himself into the fight late, but he's got a long way to climb back. Daxit and Staber sit themselves on the fourth row, 7th and 8th respectively. Boba and Stell, 9th and 10th. Stell still trusting to no assists whatsoever and not treating him as well as it should when he, well, at one point was fighting for a title himself. Caesar, an elite, 11th and 12th. Caesar's had a couple of times this season where he would have been able to fight for wins. Canada in particular springs to mind. But a few unimpressive drives as well. Yarlo, who's been hitting his stride, probably wants a better qualifying than what he's got today. 14th is Tepos, that sits to 7th row. Redstone doesn't manage to follow up Kota very well. Sits himself 15th. Bazal, the other new guys, second drive in the league, starts 16th alongside him. Millsy and Big Turns fill out the 9th row. 17th and 18th from West London didn't set a lap and therefore sits himself at the back. It looks like we are... Yeah, okay, it was just to annoy me. God damn it, Baraka! He's making my life harder for no reason. God damn it, man. Right, so, 36 laps. Baraka from Bloodwave, from Stagger, from Joe. That'll be a May 4 going down toward this turn 1. Baraka can get himself a good start. He should be relatively away. Tepos got himself disqualified on the formation lap. Most of the grid opting for a medium tyre this time. Only the select few on the hards. Bloodwave and Stagger both on the hards. Baraka finally learning a lesson that he has been going through for a while, where he's been selecting the first for the hard tyre and not really been able to do it. And here we go, lights on, away we go. I wasn't able to see lights, so off we go down towards turn 1, and Baraka gets by far the better start. As we go into, oh, there's a collision already! And there goes Joe, and it's Joe and Stagger that come together, and Joe is going to lose out massively. BR4 up to 4th, Mitchell directly behind those. There you go, Staber and Stell gaining a few positions off the start. Boba also there, Daxi down to 9th, he's lost 3 positions. He tries to fight Boba off for an extra to gain one of those back immediately. And there goes another one, Stell's out of the race entirely, and we might be safety car immediately. We might be immediately heading into a safety car. Everyone felt a bit cold, the qualifying strategy. Well, the qualifying was cut short. The qualifying obviously catching everyone with cold feet a little bit. BR4 managing up to 3rd. Stagger and Joe came together. Stell out in the wall immediately. His race is over, so he just wasted 8 minutes of his life for no reason. And it looks like virtual safety car should be about to go again. Well, you shouldn't be too far away from that. But the 4 guys left on the hard tyres, plus up to 4 of the top 5 as we go again. Bloodwave against Baraka. Baraka obviously getting a good start and then managed to keep it through the virtual safety car. Elite versus Daxi as they head into turn 1. And Daxi's going to go 3 wide actually, because Caesar's going to go down the inside of them both. And I think Caesar might be about to get a double here. Caesar did get a double. That's a great move through turn 1. It looked like Daxi was the biggest loser there. Tepos getting yellow. They head down towards turn 4, and we're going to have a little bit of a punt here, and Tepos loses positions. I think Yarlow may have done a little bit of a push to pass there. And Bazal got past Tepos as well, and I think we might be about to see Redstone go after Tepos, and yeah, we are. They go up the hill into the second sector properly now. As we wind through the twisty second sector. We've still got a battle going between Elite and Daxi. That's been ranging from the first corner of the lap, and I think Daxi has finally got himself some ground here. And Daxi has finally got himself the position back as well. As we watch, Baraka's gone. Bloodwave, the only other one even within remote distance of him. And not a lot going on the rest of the field. Here comes Mitchell on the outside of Stagger. We've already seen Stagger have a collision with Joe today. Mitchell still on him, and now on the inside of turn 2, squeezing them a little bit to the end there, and Stagger won't be too happy with that and lost the position. Mitchell with a little bit of aggressive racing there, but probably still fair in the grand scheme of things. He definitely squeezed him, but nothing really came out of it. Stagger holds on against Staber. Mitchell up to 4th. He needs to try and charge down BR4, or hope BR4 goes after Bloodwave, one of the two. And it looks like Bazal's just got past Elite. He has down the middle of the field there. And Yarlow up to 10th too. A little bit of a train starting to form. We should have DRS starting any minute now, if not already. Well, it doesn't look like an awful lot's going to happen here down the straight. Everyone's in a little bit of a train directly behind Jallo, and even more so behind Elite. We'll wait and see whether or not something's going to happen here. It looks like Daxi versus Caesar, and Daxi's trying to make amends for the double move Caesar made in the beginning of beginning of lap 2 realistically, and Daxi's going to get by. Bazal's going to get by on Yarlow for the moment, but Yarlow's going to come back on the inside in turn 2, and Bazal again coming right back at Yarlow in turn 3 and makes it work. playing a little bit of hot potato with that final point, but Bazal's going to be able to do it. Joe's starting to fight his way back through the field now, after the incident with Stego left him pretty vulnerable. And see there, looking for the back of Daxi and almost torpedoed straight into the back of him. It was almost an absolute catastrophe there. Still got a bunch of people close to each other. The train's starting to form all the way back from Daxi all the way to the back of the grid. Well, actually towards 15th. The last couple of drivers already out without a safety car at the very least. You've got a few battles going on at the front as well. BR4 needs to close down on Bloodwave a little bit here, because Bloodwave is so much slower than Baraka at this point in time. We never really got to see much of anything in qualifying, but Baraka's using that little bit of a buffer he has between him and Mitchell and BR4 in particular as a very good, and using it to a very good effect here. It looks like Caesar had a bit of a problem through turn 1, maybe definitely through turn 2, and that's going to allow Daxi to hold on for a little bit longer. Daxi's going to stay in 8th for now. No penalties on the grid at the moment. A couple of trains forming. Bloodwave the head of one, Daxi the head of the other. Joe versus Tepos. Nothing really going to happen there. Joe drops off quite drastically to Redstone behind, who almost misjudges that. Straight into the back of the Aston Martin. He just about gets away with it. Mere inches between those. Some people riding their luck so far. Wait and see if that is going to continue to be a theme through the race. Joe getting a little bit out of sorts there out the exit of the second to last. Technically the third to last if you want to count the little kink we're going through here. Doesn't look like an awful lot is happening. We're going down towards turn 3 now at the front of the grid. 3 seconds split Bloodwave and Baraka, so Baraka's got a comfortable lead. BR4 trying to hunt down Bloodwave as well. We've seen these two have about 65 different battles this season and never usually end well for Bloodwave, that end well for BR4, sorry. So this time it's BR4's turn to overtake rather than to be overtaken. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it into the second sector, but Mitchell closing a little bit. Can BR4 make his way past Bloodwave? Because he needs to, if he wants to win this race and possibly try and head himself a little bit more in the title fight, he's got to get going. He's got to get going, and he's got to get going really quickly here. Because he cannot afford Baraka to disappear into the distance. Because as soon as Baraka disappears into the distance here, it's probably a little bit more than game over, especially today. It's like Bazal just got past Caesar, and they're still going, and they're getting a free wide here. It looks like, oh, a little bit of contact already between Bazal and Yarrow. Yarrow's got the outside line. Caesar's lost out to both of them. Yarrow's continuing to have the outside line, and before turn 1 even hits, he has that position. And that battle has been returned to, and Yarrow is going to have the last laugh, at least for now. And at the same time, BR4 finally makes his way past Bloodwave. We've been suspecting that it happens for a couple of laps. It finally has happened. And for now, that's going to allow for BR4 to try and make some headways into that gap that Baraka has at the lead of the race. Mitchell also trying to see his way past the Mercedes. See if he can open a gap. See if he can create something against Baraka. He knows that if Baraka wins this race in any sort of fashion besides getting a penalty, that Baraka hits the top of the leaderboard at the halfway mark. Mitchell looking for a 4-peat. Mitchell looking to do, well, Mitchell on his Manchester City arc here. Looking for a 4-peat. He's going to have Monaco next week. Try and recover some of the damages that might be going on here. Here comes Bloodwave and BR4 again, and BR4 is going to lose that position yet again. Or is he going? Well, he is going to lose the position on Bloodwave. He's got the inside line, and then the outside to turn 2, and then the inside to turn 3, and he's gone. And it looks like Mitchell is going to line up an attempt on BR4 too, but BR4's wings are a little bit too much for Mitchell, and Mitchell's not able to make anything happen there. Couple of mistakes if a couple of mistakes are forced here, then we might be looking for something to happen later in the race. But for now, Bloodwave doing his best hold-up job for Baraka. And Tepos has been disconnected from the game. Which means he's going to drop off the back as well. Which means the Dax, well, the Arlo train is going to land all the way back through Redstone, and that's about it. As Redstone now moves to 13th. BR4 will have VRS and will have DRS in order to go at Bloodwave here. He's got 71% at the moment. Bloodwave only has 46, so BR4 has a lot more to use, and he's going to go for it here. Is Mitchell going to go for it here too? Mitchell's got to go for it here. Mitchell's got the inside line of turn 1, but unfortunately BR4's exit turn 1 is probably going to hamper Mitchell enough. And it's actually not going to hamper Mitchell enough. Mitchell's going to get it to work. Bloodwave goes a bit too deep out of turn 2. And that's going to do it. It's just about got away with it. He had to make the move there, especially he saw BR4 go off in front. But he almost failed to make that move, but he got it done nonetheless. So did BR4. BR4 pulling away through turn 2. And then again through turn 3 allowed for it to happen. Really allowed for Mitchell to get on that pedal and just go full balls through the wall through 3. And now Mitchell's going to have a go here at BR4. Stego also tried to have a go, but Stego not really able to make himself move up to the grid right now. 4th going through. And we've got a yellow flag in sector 2, and Tapos got his car back and immediately puts that car in the wall. And that might be the end of Tepos' race. Here we go. So Mitchell versus BR4. BR4 Wiggs versus Mitchell DRS. Mitchell DRS 2. As Mitchell's going to go down the inside here. Can I have a good camera angle, please, game? And there you go. I have to go on to Bloodwave's camera angle just to figure out what the hell is even happening here. As Mitchell goes back behind BR4. And he's going to have another go at this with another dose of DRS and another look to the outside. And this time, Mitchell's going to get it. Mitchell's going to get it this time. Bloodwave not looking at him, well, looked for it himself, but not really going to be able to make anything work. He sits in 4th. Now Mitchell has a sector to get some sort of gap so he can start to hold on, because Baraka, this fighting has handed Baraka everything he could possibly have wanted in this race, and Boba and Stega are going at him. Boba loses out as the Stega goes a little bit deep in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end of sector 2, sorry. It looks like Steger's just doing about enough to hold within DRS, but to hold Boba off as well, as he got stable on the back of that group. Daxi an extra 3 seconds back and needs a little bit more fighting just to figure something out. Mitchell has gained an 0.8 of a second gap in 1 lap. It will all come back to BR4 now though. BR4's wings. He also has the DRS and the ERS if he chooses to use it. But turning the cornering right now is going very much in Mitchell's favour, as Boba is just about heading up Staber into turn 1. He just about keeps that position. I don't think he's going to be able to keep that position much longer. We don't have a position to overtake up front, but we do have an overtake down the inside here from Staber. Is he going to be able to hold it on Boba? Who's got the better exit out of turn 5? It looks like it's the Ferrari. It is the Ferrari, and Staber takes 6th place. Looks like the bingo card needs changing a little bit. Staber's not had a bad first lap for once. It looks like BR4 is losing a little bit of ground again. Mitchell needs to gain a bunch of time. He needs to get out of that second gap. And doing that against an old title rival, he knows that's going to be hard. He hasn't done it remotely. And yellow flag in sector 2 again, and that's the other half going off once again. And right now, he's not doing Baraka any favour in terms of a Constructors' Battle hope. And it doesn't look like a lot is happening here. Down towards turn 1, Mitchell's going to hold off BR4 again. Nothing happening in the train either. It doesn't look like anything is really going to happen outside of Redstone going after Seether. But again, not really getting close enough. Maybe he'll go after it again down towards turn 4. Especially if he can get himself close enough. He's going to have the ERS on. He's actually, yeah, he is going to use the ERS a little bit. He is going to use the DRS as well, and he finally gets past Seether, who drops to 13th. The medium tire is not doing an awful lot right now. Yala versus Bazal as well. Another safety car going in these guys' way would be extremely interesting as to after last week. But a lot is happening through the pack here. It looks like Mitchell is just about gaining enough every lap to put himself where he wants to be, but not really enough to get him outside of that DRS. So there's not an awful lot he can do. Bearing in mind that if Baraka wins this race, then Baraka will go top of the championship fight going into Monaco next week. It looked like the gap is closing down. It's now 0.4 of a second again between Mitchell and BR4, which means Mitchell now has to gain another 0.6 of a second just to make something work here. He actually has to gain another 0.7 now as BR4 gets the low wings down into turn 6. And Yarlo got past Daxi as well. Daxi not having the greatest of times over the last lap or two, but Bazal looks to have a look at him as well. As well, we're going through sector 2 of these lot now. There's the miniature train forming here. Mitchell's only got 0.6 of a second this time. Mitchell only seems to be gaining to around somewhere between 6 and 0.8 as the laps go on. Bear in mind, him and BR4 are on the same tyres. There's not an awful lot that Mitchell can do to break this gap right now. He said, "Welcome to the train" at the beginning. He's definitely meant it. Here comes Daxi with the DRS. I don't think Bazal's going to be able to do anything on the outside here. No, he is not. He is not going to be able to do anything. Daxi holds on. Maybe Daxi might have a go at Yarlo if he can get close enough down towards turn 4. If not, then he's under pressure here, and Bazal is definitely going to put him under pressure. Bazal's on the outside. Daxi's going to go. Well, he looked for a split second. Oh, and Yarlo's had a problem. Bazal's got a penalty, and Yarlo has gone. Well, he's had a bit of a spin there. Yarlo has gone too far to the inside of turn 4 on the exit of turn 4. Just about does well enough to save it from the wall itself. But Yarlo loses out on both positions as a result. And, well, Bazal also has a penalty for his track limits at the same corner. So that was a moment of madness in the midfield there. And there's not an awful lot that can be done about it. BR4 is very much in with a shout this time. BR4 on the inside of Mitchell. And BR4, after about 7 laps of waiting in behind, has finally got it back. And Daxi goes and speeds into the pit lane. I don't think Mitchell's going to be too happy with him this time. It's not like last week where he was basically should have bought him the biggest gift available. What he did last week to Baraka. Might need a moment of fortune in that direction again today. BR4 with the lower wings is just about going to hold on. But now the cornerings are obviously in Mitchell's favour. Bloodlave is just having a front row seat to the battle we've watched so far. He's not really doing anything himself, just sitting there. Just sitting there menacingly. Someone can get the Patrick if out as we go along. We watch Mitchell go around the final corner now. He doesn't have the wings BR4 does. He does have DRS, and he does have, like, doesn't have the ERS on BR4 actually. BR4 on 80%. I don't think Mitchell's going to get close enough. I think BR4's wings are just about going to be enough. And they are going to be through down into turn 1. Mitchell's cornering could open a door here down towards turn 4 though. Mitchell's closed the gap. It is now 0.3 of a second. It isn't close enough. Mitchell just about having to sit behind now in 3rd. Bloodblade staying in 4th, and these 4 haven't really made an interesting development in the last so long, apart from BR4's retake into 2nd place. Baraka with a 5.5 second gap now. Absolutely destroying the competition in this race. He said he took personal offence to Mitchell overtaking him in the championship last week, obviously, and is absolutely laying down the leather of the law today. There is no way so anyone's going to catch him on raw pace alone. May needs a fortunate scenario just to bring him back. But for right now, while nothing is really going on, I'm going to have a quick drink. Mitchell losing time rapidly through BR4 here. Mitchell might actually about to drop out of DRS. Well, it did look like that for a split second. He had not the greatest at the final sectors there. Also, BL4's wings are just a bit too much at this point. 0.8 of a second for Mitchell. He needs to start digging that gap a little bit here. Otherwise, he's going to be defending from Bloodwave before he knows it. Bearing in mind that every position that Mitchell doesn't end, for every position Mitchell ends behind Baraka is just a larger lead in the championship for Baraka at the end of this one. It looks like Mitchell is closing the gap a little bit. He managed to find 0.3 in the middle sector. Probably needs to start finding a bit more than 0.3, but nonetheless able to close it in enough at the moment. And he found another 1/10.5 in the end of the third, in the beginning of the third sector too, so he should be able to close that gap down quite a lot. Now within 3, now within 0.2 of a second actually, as we head down towards turn 1. If he can get a good exit out of turn 2 and 3, then he should be able to have a shot here at BR4. It wasn't the greatest of exits. Well, it wasn't the greatest of corner exits from 2, but it might have been from 3. He might have an opportunity. No, he's too far back. Steger is outside of the DRS now on Bloodwave, which means we might have two battles about to separate. And Yarlo now comes into pit, which means he is the 5th driver to pit in this race so far, as we are now on maybe a sector short of half race distance. And that is in fact where we are right now, as Baraka goes through the beginning of the third sector now, and he is about to go on to lap 19, which means we are now 18 laps through the race and half race distance. Mitchell now within half a second again, now closes that gap a little bit more. He's a 1/10 of a second closer than he was this time last lap, which means he might be able to pull aside this time. He's going to try and do it this time on the inside at turn 1, and I think he might be even in front of BR4 heading into turn 1. He is in front of BR4 into turn 1 and out of turn 2, and it looks like Bloodwave almost had a look for it too, but he's going to fall a little bit short. Here comes BR4, possibly looking to make a second move back. Doesn't get it. Bloodwave on the inside also. Actually, late move for Bloodwave, who looks to the inside. Might be looking to make a mistake. A little bit wide there from BR4. Might be looking to make him pay. Doesn't make him pay. And BR4 might have just got away with one there. Mitchell was hoping for that to make a move. For Bloodwave to make a move on BR4, maybe just to open the door a little bit, maybe get that second gap, but he doesn't get it, and BR4 just about gets away with that by the skin of his teeth. But it has allowed Steger and Staber back into the fight. Elite also back up to 13th at this point. Redstone having pitted, same with Caesar and West London. Big Turns hasn't, Tepos and Elite hasn't. In comes Steger and Bloodwave. They're 18 laps apiece on the hard tires. Mitchell stays out, BR4 stays out, Staber stays out, Baraka stays out. And we've got a very differing strategy here. If there's not a couple of changes in the next couple of laps, I'm going to believe that Baraka and Staber are possibly trying, obviously with the softs not being used as much for the quality because of it, dying after about halfway through. It could be possible there is a set of soft there for people to use. If there's a set of soft there for people to use, I would not be at all surprised if I saw Staber and Baraka not go onto the hard tire at all, but go onto the softs on the mediums, and that could create a very interesting way of going about things here. As we go through lap 20 right now, and Baraka stays out again. Mitchell not going out. Well, Mitchell not going in, neither is BR4. Is Staber with his 3-second time penalty? No, he is not. So I'm going to assume the one on the medium tyres right now going medium to soft. Not sure what the plan is for the guys on the hards. Bazal and Joe, well, Joe comes in, Bazal stays out. Bloodwave obviously on the new tyres. Steger too, they're looking to undercut. And they now have a lot of clean air to themselves as we go along here. Daxi on hard tyres, he's in front of Joe. Joe goes onto the soft tyre with about 15 left to go. That's an interesting choice. Not sure going that early was how you meant to play this one, but we'll figure it out as we go along. A safety car would play into pretty much every other person's hands right now. Unless you're Bloodwave and Steger, then you'd be absolutely furious. As of right now, no one's starting to crash. No one's really forcing anything either, so we're not really going to get an awful lot. Baraka now into the pits. Done 21 laps on those medium tyres. He's going to go on and do 15 essentially on the softs. I would imagine it's the soft tyre going on that Haas. It is the soft tyre going on that Haas. Mitchell and BR4 stay out. They continue to roll along. BR4 just about stayed in that DRS gap the entire way through. Steger with the fastest lap of the race so far. Baraka out in front of Bloodwave, but it's not an awful lot in front of Bloodwave. He had a 5.5 second gap to begin with. The undercut rather powerful as Baraka's got to go around the outside on Bazal there, and he has done indeed. As they go through turn 5 and then turn through 6 as well. As we continue to watch Baraka, who's still in first. Bloodwave now nearly 3 seconds off the pace. But at the moment, I believe he would be in second place. I think it might be a hard soft coming for the two in the lead. Mitchell is pitting now. Is BR4. BR4 is not pitting now. What is the colour going on that on that Red Bull? It is the medium tyre. So, hard medium for Mitchell. Medium soft for Baraka. Mitchell going to come out, but where is he going to come out? There's Daxi coming out in the background too. Is he going to get in front of his teammate? If so, I would assume he'd be ordered out of the way immediately. He is not going to get out in front of his teammate. Mitchell has a long way to go now. Bloodwave and Steger may have timed this to perfection with the undercut. Baraka, 3 seconds gap now between these guys. BR4 stays out. I can only yellow flag in sector 2. Yellow flag in sector 2, and that is the McLaren. It's just big turns coming off the track. As of right now, I think Baraka would take what he's getting right now. And also, yellow flag coming from Mercedes, and nearly got off the track. Staber's got 5 seconds, speeding into the pit lane. BR4 and Staber both come in this lap. Staber's going onto the soft tyres, obviously. What about BR4? It is soft tyres going on the AlphaTauri. And well then, this just got a lot more interesting. BR4 lost out a ton, but won't be too disappointed with the fact that he isn't that far off of Mitchell. Bear in mind the difference in the tyres now. You've got Steger going after BR4, not BR4, Bloodwave, and this could be rather interesting for the constructors battle, because they were only 39 off in the first place. Now Steger and BR4 are having blinded the race. Seeing either side of a Red Bull right now, actually. You get 15 and then, what, 12, 10, 8? So it'd be 23 on the board. Baraka would still extend the lead right now to both teams. on in terms of the constructors by himself, which is an interesting way of going about it. And it looks like Steger's really closing in here. Also, BR4 getting past Daxi with relative ease. Here comes Steger with the DRS, just too far back. See, they get past Redstone in the middle of the field there. Steger gets past Yarlow. Yarlow also probably having a relatively nice time. Well, he's had a relatively nice time in this race. He probably would have hoped for something better given the streak he currently is on, but yeah, I can promise you that Tefos is not leading this race. Definitely promise you that's not the case. As Baraka currently in the lead by 4.4 seconds. Steger obviously had the same sort of lower downforce setup that BR4 is running, because he is not getting anywhere in that middle sector. Tefos has joined back. His internet connection is not having a nice time. Well, for right now, I don't think Baraka cares. He's winning the race. He's extending in the championship for... Well, he's gaining the lead back of the championship for the drivers and extending in the constructors. So it's been an all-round pretty good day. If you are driving and your name is called Baraka. And it looks like Bazal's just got past Cedar there, albeit it wasn't the easiest way to go by. All three of these guys going at each other hammer and tongs at the moment. Mitchell only 2.5 seconds now behind Steger and Bloodwave. That's come down a bit. BR4's had a gap, however, Mitchell has not. It looks like Staber also trying to find his way through. He's back up to 6, and here we go. Up the hill we go here between Bazal and Caesar, and Caesar's looking for the inside lines. Bazal looked a little bit deep there, but Bazal's going to hold on, especially through the second sector. Yellow flag in the first sector, and it's Mildy again. Mildy is driving to a wall. Interesting. I think he spun to the outside, well, to the inside of turn 2 to begin with, but may have just about avoided a wall there. Yara versus Daxi. Daxi is just falling off everywhere right now. It's just paced on those hard tires, the old hard tires are not going anywhere here with Daxi. It looks like Yara on the inside of turn 2 has got that move done. The DRS will be immediately back with Daxi, who's got one hell of a run there on Yarlow, as Daxi just essentially janked that position back without really much thought. And Daxi's going to stay in 7th for the time being. He needs to create himself a little bit of a gap in the second sector here. Mitchell now 1.5 seconds back on Steger and Bloodwave, as BR4 really is not closing that gap on Mitchell at all, about 2 tenths since they started their stints. Mitchell's not complaining about beating BR4. Mitchell probably will be complaining at the distance between him and Baraka right now, though. Stell crashed at turn 5 on the very first lap. And here comes Steger, finally looking on the outside here against Bloodwave, and finally gets past Bloodwave here into turn 1. And it's finally Steger looking toward the front rather than Steger just being content to sit behind him. Yarlow finally gets past Daxi as well. That actually makes this one work this time. We have a virtual safety car. We have a virtual safety car, and again, Mildy has had problems. And that may just save Steger and Bloodwave a little bit here. It's all but solidifying Baraka's to win. For the sake of the race and sake of winning the race, we need this to turn into a full-blown safety car. But it doesn't look like that is happening anytime soon. The pit for West London here off the hard tires onto the softs. Yeah, a full-blown safety car here would bring in Steger, Bloodwave, Mitchell, all right beside Baraka, and same with BR4, and we could have had a very interesting race to the end. But we're not getting, alas, we're not getting it this time. Looks like Bloodwave raring to go here. You can't overtake under the virtual safety car, but Bloodwave, sorry. Mitchell now got himself within a second. I'm not entirely sure how this has happened. Steger must be going at a snail's pace. But the gap nonetheless has come down by quite a considerable margin all the way through. Mitchell has in fact dropped himself back and avoids himself Millsy's out, but he's in the pit lane. And Mitchell avoids himself the drive-through. Bloodwave right on the back of Steger has just turned out that Mitchell was going for it rather than the opposite way round. Mitchell got himself right back within the DRS. Mitchell might be looking for a second place. He's trying to limit the damage as much as physically possible. Baraka only 4.5 seconds ahead instead of the 8.5 seconds ahead that he was at one point. But down the grid, there's not an awful lot going on at this point in time. Steger just about defending well enough from Bloodwave and from Mitchell. Mitchell on better tyres than the two in front of him. It looked like Mitchell might be about to go for this. Mitchell with the DRS against Bloodwave, who also had DRS, but Mitchell looking to the inside, and he's going to get one, maybe he goes for the double. Mitchell against Steger, and Steger's going to win that battle. Just about. Mitchell looked for an audacious double overtake, doesn't get it. Here comes Bloodwave, and we're about to go three wide. We're about to go three wide here. Steger is sitting duck. Mitchell on the outside there. Mitchell against Bloodwave. Mitchell may have just picked up a little bit of one. I'm not sure with that camera angle. But he's still hanging on there. It's a second place. He's ahead of Bloodwave. Bloodwave trying to hang on to the outside of Mitchell. Doesn't do it. Now Steger's going to go to the inside. And Steger span! Steger span! Steger has gone round. And he is going to lose numerous amount of positions. I'm not sure if there was a collision there. Couldn't get a good enough angle on the uphill drive. But Mitchell up into second. Mitchell has a long way to go to get Baraka. But Mitchell will be extremely confident now that that lead is only going to be a singular point. Maybe two if Baraka ends up with the fastest lap 2. If it understeered into Bloodwave, that would make sense. It looks like Joe picked up 3 seconds. A few of the penalties starting to flow in a little bit now. As we continue to watch one lap 31 of 36 at the moment. Mitchell is closing in on Baraka, albeit nowhere near enough to make this any function at any sort of level. Bloodwave, however, is holding on to the back of Mitchell fairly well. BR4 in 4th, and what was an incredibly good day for AlphaTauri and the constructors, maybe looking to try and put a dent into that lead that the Red Bull and the Haas have built up over them. May have just gone down the drain a little bit. You're currently getting the 12 points for BR4. It's only 20 on the board right now for AlphaTauri, and that means Baraka is going to extend that up over the 40-point mark. Tepos not really doing anything. Mitchell's currently second, so he's losing at the minimum 7 points on Baraka. Mitchell losing 7 points on Baraka at the moment, depending on what the fastest lap is. The fastest lap currently on Baraka's side, so that turns into 8. So it's a 3-point lead of the championship at this point in time from Baraka, and Daxi gets past before turn 1 on Yarlow. Daxi trying to keep himself in 7th position, trying to possibly gain as much time as he can on the gap when it comes to the gap as well, as we're going to take it off leader and go to the interval as Yarlow goes back by the turn 4 rolls around. As it stands, Daxi will only lose a singular position. It'll be 2 points for him, 18, 20 for Red Bull 2, which means Baraka is single-handedly outscoring both of his rivals and both of his constructors' team's rivals as well right now. It'd be an exceptional day for Baraka. Mitchell is still closing in, but again, it's closing in by nowhere near enough. Bloodwave is going to go for this. They're not even close, actually. He's not really close enough going towards turn 1. He's going to need a good exit out of turn 2 and go an even better one out of turn 3. Make something happen here, which he does not get. Mitchell had the better exit. And then Bloodwave's going to have to use DRS to cancel out some of that time, which he does, and now it's about 0.4 of a second. Daxi versus Yarlo still going on, which Yarlo is going to continue to win at this present time. But for now, it doesn't look like an awful lot is going on up and down the grid. Also, apart from here, Bloodwave is starting, closing a little bit as we go along. Mitchell needs to hang on to second place to limit the damage in the championship. Bloodwave gets an awful exit out of that corner. Either that was a combination of his awful exit and a really good one for Mitchell. Opened a couple of tenths of a second out of the second to last, and I mean that's as good as you could get for Mitchell out of the beginning of the third sector there, isn't it? And it means that he's going to be able to hold Bloodwave off for yet another lap as we are on 34 of 36, and Daxi goes by yet again as we head into turn 1. Daxi's going to be under fire immediately through turn 3, if he even gets that far, from Yarlo, who is going to go by. Does not even need the use of the DRS to get by there, but he'll take it nonetheless for his 3 seconds to Caesar and any chance at a point for him. Redstone going after Bazal right now, and Redstone going to have the inside line on Bazal, and looking with the inside line, and Bazal goes deep again, definitely picks up yet another one, and Daxi picks up 3 more. And yeah, Daxi has 8 seconds, and right now that's going to drop him into 10th place. It doesn't look like an awful lot's going to happen as we go through. Bloodwave trying to chunt down Mitchell again, but once again, he's not close enough as they head into turn 1. Redstone got past Bazal and has a 7/10 of a second gap. Yellow flag in sector 2, and that is a white car. The rest of the question we have to ask is, which white car is it? It's Tepos. It's Tepos. Oh, Mitchell saw a white car going off and probably prayed that it was Baraka, but it's not. It just means Tepos is getting lapped. As we watch Bazal goes past Redstone again, another yellow flag. This time I'm assuming it's still for Tepos as Redstone earns his position back on, well, on the second straight here. Bazal not going to be able to fight back an awful lot there as Redstone actually opened the gap through down towards turn 4. Bloodwave also not really doing an awful lot in terms of gaining closer ground to Mitchell through the third sector, and as a result that's going to mean Mitchell going to go into lap 35, actually into lap 36, sorry, with a relative distance that should be more than enough for him at this point. Mitchell did gain an entire second on Baraka, but unfortunately he needs about another 20 laps just to figure something out. Yellow flag is just Tepos DNFing in the pits. It's too late for a safety car now anyway. Daxi goes past Yarlo for one last time in their hot potato of the actual position here. As we continue to watch through the final lap, Yarlo and Daxi are going at each other. A little bit of contact going through down towards turn 4, and Yarlo on the inside into turn 4 is going to get that one done very, very easily. It looks like we're pretty much done here. Here comes Barak, entering the final sector for the the final sector for the final time. As we go round the second to last, you're going to go down towards the final corner, the finish line, as Baraka takes the lead of the championship once again with a commanding win in Brazil. And no one challenged him from the word go. He made his way 8 minutes. He made my job a little bit harder than it needed to be, and then made my job a little bit more boring than it needed to be. But Baraka absolutely dominated that from start to finish. There was no stopping him today. Mitchell gets himself second. So Mitchell limits the damage as much as physically possible to Baraka in this one, as Baraka retakes the lead of the championship. Bloodway third, BR4 fourth, Steger fifth. They had an alright day in the championship. 22 points for them only means that it's now 42 in the constructors. Yalo's sixth, he'll take that. He continues his run of form. Saber seventh, as he actually finishes a race for the first time in God knows how long. And that realistically spells the end of the race. Yalo once again with a driver of the day. Why am I not surprised that Baraka was doing it to annoy me? And there you go. Well, that is effectively the end of the day. You know, the podium celebration, the Haas on top yet again. This is the difference between this point of the season and the early point of the season for Baraka. He's converting those poles into wins. He wasn't doing that for the first three races of the season, and that's why Mitchell had such the hefty advantage. And we're through 7, and as of right now, Baraka is the one to stop at the halfway point. And with that, I'm going to end up there. Been a pleasure. In a bit.